Random dude come up to you on the red line to Ashmont talking about, yo, you trying to play a game? First of all, I'm not saying yes. I say yes, we played the game. All right, cool. I have to slap your piece of paper hard enough to make it flip. And if I don't, I either give you money or you slap the shit out of me. The first slap, nah, you know what? Wait right here. Teddy, come to Charlotte real quick. McGarvin, Dwayne, go park at Quincy Center. Come to Charlotte real quick. And the second he slaps me again, dog his ass.
What's going on, world? You hear that intro, so you know you're tuned into a brand new episode of the Beam Me Up podcast, where all we see is violence and movies and sex on TV. I'm McGarvin, and around this table I've got Darnell.
What's going on?
Dwayne.
What up?
And the man who can't even walk through the mall no more. He just pull up, get out, and get all the hoes. Teddy.
Ooh, what's good?
We've got a good one on tap for y'all today, so sit tight and enjoy as we break down everyone's favorite new show, Squid Game. But before we jump into it, as with everything we do on the show, whenever we talk about a show, it ain't going to be spoiler-friendly. We're not really spoiler-friendly kind of people, and I think to really talk about the whole scope of the show, you got to talk about some things that happen at the end, and so things are going to get spoiled. So, if you haven't caught up on the show and you don't want to, spoil yourself, this is not the episode for you, sadly. I recommend you go ahead and watch another episode of the Beam Me Up podcast. I recommend The Z Word. That was the zombie episode we did a few weeks back. Go ahead and check that out. If you are all caught up or you don't mind spoilers, get ready. Here we are. We're in the right place. With all that out of the way, I have to say, Squid Game is one of those shows that has absolutely taken the world by storm, right? And it feels like this is now the second or third time we've said it on the show, but think about it, it's been like 4 or 5 months in the process. The last show I can really think about that, like, captivated the audience, like this was maybe WandaVision or Invincible was another one where like everyone was talking about
Invincible
it.
Was big.
We all watched it as a community.
Right. So Squid Game's kind of in the same ballpark where, you can't even open up Beyonce's internet without seeing it right there, front and center. There are memes, you've seen all these people like, well, I don't know what's going on. It's a really good show. It's about a group of contestants who join a game or an event where they play 6 games and there's a cash prize where, it's a billion won per person or something to that effect, where there's a huge cash payout to whoever makes it to the end of the game. These are people who are picked up or targeted, I guess, by the game makers to join because they're desperate or whatever, and they're like, all right, cool, come play these games and you win this money. And that sounds pretty good, right? Like if someone comes up to you in the subway, you just got your $5 footlong and they're like, hey man, it's looking kind of tough for you, but if you come play these games, I got bread for you. You're gonna be like, yeah, all right, cool.
Maybe not while riding the red line.
I don't know. All I'm saying is,
if I'm on the train at Braintree and they're just like, you trying to play a game? Nah, I'm getting off.
The Braintree line ain't too bad. That's the,
It's an Ashmont one you gotta be wary.
You gotta go past Charlotte. That's where you're like,
all I'm saying is the way that he introduced me to come play these games, I probably would be down with. I probably would have fought him like right on spot because just slapping me multiple times, I would have been about that.
I mean, look,
you don't get slapped if you win.
Right.
Do you want to play a game? Relax, bro. Relax.
Exactly. Yeah, but if someone comes up to you and they're like, yo, I got some bread, and they talking big bread, they ain't talking like, I got $4 for you. They're like, yeah, I got, I got a couple digits, seven digits minimum on the table for some games. Hell yeah.
But like he didn't tell me that from the gate. Like he told me, yo, I got like 10 won, and like if you don't win this, I'm gonna slap you. Now me and my boys did the math. Like 10 won is like $8. So like I ain't gonna let it
that much. I didn't think it was a whole $8. I thought it was way less than that.
I think it's
more than 10 won.
Because all right, so the final cash prize,
10,000.
The final cash prize of the game is 47 billion won, which translates to roughly like $30 million.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a pretty big disparity. But all the same, that shit's life-changing money, so guys get involved. And they're like, I'm gonna go do it. They get involved, and they jump on in, and motherfuckers start dying. Shit gets real. And it's like, oh shit, niggas is dying. At which point, the games ensue. So, right off rip, I'll ask y'all, what did y'all think about Squid Game?
Overall, I thought it was an incredible show. I love the direction. I love the storytelling. I love the overall plot of it. Even though it's not every day we get approached on the subway to play a game to win some money, but it still was kind of relatable. Like, we've all been down and out. You know what I'm saying?
I've been down bad.
It happens to the best of us, and we've all been willing to do probably a little something strange for some change to try and get back on.
Now, hold on.
He who has not been down bad casts the first stone. That's all I'm saying. Overall, I thought it was a good show. I do suggest everyone, if you haven't watched it, please go watch it. It's good. On the other end, it doesn't matter if you watch it like sub to dub. Just go and enjoy the show for what it is. I think it was a very interesting show. I'm going to leave it at that.
Completely neglected to mention the show is Korean. Yeah. So it's technically a K-drama. So it's obviously in Korean. Netflix has it where it's dubbed, and I know for some for some shows, it's real cringy. You're watching, you're like, damn, like this dub is bad. It's not really matching the lips or whatever. This one's actually really well done. So if you are one of those people who I can't watch it, it's a different language, I can't read and watch at the same time, which I understand. That's a real thing for some people. But in that case, you can go ahead and use the dub. It's really not that bad.
So that's what some people were deterred from when I saw it, because after hearing it from you guys, I literally that day went home and binge watched it till 2 a.m.
Yep.
Then woke up and finished the last 2 episodes. So it was a really great show. I have gotten 5 people at my job to watch it. Right. And I'm still passing around the good word. They were afraid of the whole subtitles and everything like that.
Yeah.
The dubbed does not deter anybody. It still makes it as a good show. Really has a lot of, not behind the scenes, but really has a lot of things that are eye-opening when you finally have seen the full picture.
Yeah.
That I'm sure we will discuss and go about. But small things like the game's actually written on the back of the wall, and stuff like that.
I mean, I've seen that one, and everyone's like, "Well, how didn't they know?" And I'm like, "You didn't even know. You saw that."
Yeah, exactly.
It's not until the room clears that you see it, so,
and that's why I'm saying,
don't feel stupid if you don't see it.
I don't wake up in a strange room talking about, let me observe to see what's around this room.
What's behind this weird bunk bed right here?
This Warhol,
is that an umbrella?
I'm not going to wake up Sherlock Holmes. I'm going to wake up me.
I'm going to wake up me.
First thing on my mind is what we having for breakfast.
Exactly. So it's a great show. And again, if you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. You have to watch it.
Yeah, I think you got to watch it to understand it. It's off premise. Like if it's just told to me, it's not a show that I would actually go out to try to see, because I don't really care for, like, I guess, quote unquote, grisly stuff like that.
Yeah. Shows with gratuitous violence.
Yeah. Which is why I didn't really mess with Saw and stuff like that. But once I started watching the episodes and stuff, I'm like, this actually isn't that bad. And it was interesting to try to see, like, how I guess the turn of, like, you take this simple game and, like, give it these crazy consequences at the end and, like, decisions.
Yeah.
And see, like, just how people do it. But I thought it was cool. After, like, episode 3, because at first when I was watching it, I thought that it seemed a little slow, because the first episode really is just like
really slow.
It was very
I was
slow.
watching it with my mother-in-law, and she was like, she tried to turn it off at first, but she came back around to it, and once it gets going though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like even with the episodes, when noticing, hey, the games happen, in the last like 20, 25 minutes, I still don't feel like when I'm watching it, man, they haven't gotten to the game yet. What are we doing? Like that's not really like what I'm waiting for. Like I enjoy seeing everything and seeing what people are doing and stuff, and it's fun seeing now that it's the new thing that people like pointing out that they haven't seen it yet.
Oh yeah, it's like the new thing of
I haven't watched it yet, and it's like you're not cool, but hey,
flex, I guess. Like you're missing out, but all right.
But overall, it was a good show. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it on premise, just the fact that it's like, oh, we're going to play these games. And the games weren't like Saw level, because you mentioned Saw. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, yeah, you got to like,
Yeah, saw off your leg
to get the key from the inside of your femur and whatever.
Like,
It was
man, let's go play some hopscotch.
It was really that simple. It was a simple game of like something you did in childhood. We gonna play that. And if you win, there's some bread on the table for you. If you lose, though, you're dead.
I think if hopscotch was one of the games, I would have lost my shit.
Yeah, I'm
like, what are we doing?
Hopscotch. Like, I know you throw the rock and then you go from there, but I don't know. But it's one of those things that because the games were so simple, it was very easy to get engaged in. So when the first episode, when the red light, green light started, I'm watching and I'm like, all right, yeah, red light, green light, you could probably dominate this. And then the first person gets shot and I'm like, oh shit. Like it's a little different if I'm just playing for fun, like, oh, red light, oh, stop, oh, I tripped a little bit. If I know now that I'm, my brain's gonna be splattered on the back of Darnell's pants, now I know, like, all right, cool, this game's a little more stressful than I thought. So it takes that like elementary playground type vibe and gives it deadly consequences. And from there, it's like, okay, cool. Show goes on and immediately they're like, all right, you can opt out. And then people opt out, the game ends and they come back and they rejoin the game. Because again, these people are in dire straits. Nothing really changed. I know it was only like 17 people who didn't come back for the games. So everyone came back and it went from there. And the games got progressively more difficult, but they were never anything. It was never anything crazy. No. You know what I mean? It was always like, oh, we're going to play some marbles. Like, all right, marbles ain't too hard. And then, shit went sideways. That fucking mirror game, the one with the glass, was kind of like hopscotch, except that was a little more brutal.
I think to say that the games aren't crazy, but considering at the end it's a life or death situation, that's what makes them crazy. So that's not fair. So it's like, typically it's like they're all games you used to just playing for fun. There's no real consequences. Then all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, but if you lose, you die. Okay, well, hold on now.
Right.
Like, I didn't know I had to be a competitive hopscotch player, or I'd have to play, like, could you imagine? Competitive Sting? Just to win.
I mean, I would have lost. You mean, they would have shot me first, because I was never good at that game. If y'all don't know Sting, sometimes it's called suicide. It's the one where you, like, throw the ball against the wall, and then you have to run touch the wall before the person catches it and hits you in the back with it. And now imagine that with bullets. Like, now we in a bad way. I think a lot of what makes Squid Game really compelling, though, is that the characters were not necessarily who you thought they were, right? So you get a wide cast of character. Everyone's given a number. They all have names, but really you know them by their numbers because those are the numbers that are printed on your shirt and all that. And throughout the show, they don't often actually tell you their numbers. But our main character, our main man, I'm going to pronounce his name. I'm going to give it the good old college try because I think it's more disrespectful not to try the name. And then I'm going to refer to him by his number because it's just easier that way. I believe the name is Sung Gi Hun. He was number 456. He's our main character. He's our last competitor or whatever. And he's the main character. He's the quote unquote good guy. And throughout the entire show, you're watching, you're like, all right, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. And then it takes a turn towards the end. And you're like, is he now no longer a good dude because of the shit he did? And I think when you apply that to a lot of the characters, everyone had their own story. Everyone came for their own reason to get whatever money they came to get. And everyone ends up doing some fuck shit. And I think that was really well done for me. I'll ask y'all in a second, but I think having characters that are flawed always makes a good story, and having characters that you look around and you're like, damn, maybe no one here is a good person is a good lesson to learn, because you can look around in a room full of dudes, a room full of ladies, a room full of, whoever's, and you will know maybe not everyone in here is quote unquote good as we all like to hope. What y'all think about the fact that the characters weren't all that redeeming? Or did you find any of the characters to be redeeming? Because I don't think I did.
I liked how they made you, just like I'm bad at names, so I'm gonna just say 456 was his number. I like how they built him up as a character that you're going to like, you're going to love, because he was funny, he was hopeful, and you knew his struggle with what was going on at home. And then the marble game came up, and I was like, y'all gonna make this man look rough. And he did. Like, I mean, in all good favor. Like we've talked about before, it's okay to be selfish sometimes. I mean, 100%. in that type of situation, what else were you going to do? Because you knew you weren't going to bite the bullet for it.
What would you disagree with?
What would you?
I disagree saying that he was rough, only because like a lot of those people were put in situations where they had to pit themselves against other people. So it's like judging them based off the game. I mean, granted, their lives all before then, they made them all seem to be like kind of POSs. Like most of them, like 456. I mean, he was a shitty dad just to be a shitty dad.
Yeah. I wouldn't call him a shitty dad.
His homeboy that was a
Sung Woo?
Yeah, his homeboy that was an investor, like you were just bad at trading. Mm-hmm. Or at least it seemed like what he did was kind of on purpose. It doesn't seem like more of it was a bad decision, but it's like he was a trash person out of the game, and then he was also being a trash person in the game because of his tactics. But then I also felt bad for people like Ali, where it's just like, okay, you're just doing your best on the outside, but inside the game, you're still trying to do your best, and it hasn't clicked to you. It's just like, this is a game, like this is a life and death situation. You need to start playing the game, and it's like you keep thinking that shit's all peaches and cream, and that kind of annoyed me a little bit about that character.
Well, because a lot of the games were more team based until that one game.
Until the marble game.
Yeah. Yes. The honeycomb game.
That wasn't really team.
That wasn't team based. That was single.
But you're also neither was red light, green light.
I think there were only 2 games that were really team based.
It was Tug of War
and that one. Which actually, it's Tug of War and then it's
the mirror game.
The mirror game and then the mirror game.
Yes.
And that one's not really even.
Well, then let me tell you that there were more games that was based off of you dying off of your own mistakes or issues or problems that you had, rather than, because you could have done the glass game and made it totally through.
Yeah.
You could have
unlikely, but yeah,
exactly. Unlikely, but you could have red light, green light. You could have done it by yourself. You would have been fine. The honey game, fine. The marble game, you were facing somebody. Somebody had to die.
Right.
There was no getting around it.
I think where I'm at with that, when 456 was playing against the old man who's number 1, the old man, if y'all haven't seen the show, he's dying of a tumor, and there's a certain level of dementia there as well. And 456 ends up tricking him to win the game. And understand that, like, it's a game and it's either me or you and all that. But that was shitty. That was shitty.
Yeah, exactly.
That was shitty.
But that's different, because I think if you're I agree with Darnell, where I don't really view him any differently, because I think if it comes to life or death, I need to beat you in order to win. And there's an in there, and like you're really playing for like, you want to get your family straight, see your daughter, all this other stuff. And it comes down to like me or you. I don't think you're a bad person if you then say it's me. Like I'm going to.
No, but it's shitty because he lost. It's shitty because he lost, and he lied and said no.
Because at that point, it's not just like, oh, I beat you. It was like, I cheated.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. But I guess the thing I say at that point is it's kind of like discussions we had before, where it's like, okay, but like I'm dead, so what? Now we're going to talk about like, boom, you go up, you beam up to heaven. How'd you die? Wouldn't you know it? I had an opportunity to cheat and I did not. and so I ended up with you, JC. And it's like, bro,
like,
what are we talking about?
There's no like necessary. I gotta win this game. I just can't use violence.
So I will say I agree with y'all. What y'all are saying, like, oh, it's me or you, and it's gonna be me, survival instincts, and I got all that. I get that. Sung Woo did the exact same shit. What number was Sung Woo? He was the investor. He was 2 something, right? Number 218. He was he was friends with 456 in childhood and all that. He was the investor who stole the money and all that. He did the exact same shit. He cheated to get his victory. Mm-hmm. He ended up tricking Ali. He had all the marbles. He swapped him out, and Ali got murdered. Everyone looks at Sung Woo like a giant piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But they both cheated. What's the difference?
I don't look at Sung Woo as a piece of shit.
I know you wouldn't, but I'm like, Darnell's too logical to be like, oh,
the only time where I'm like, damn, that's crazy is during the honeycomb game, where it's just like, you knew what's up, you knew what game you were playing, even though like he kind of figured out on his own. He knew what type of game the honeycomb game was going to be before it happened.
And then he set him up with the umbrella thing.
You had a chance to tell your mans, and you didn't tell your mans.
Especially because it wasn't one or the other in that situation.
Had he just like kept his mouth shut, all right, fine, whatever. Like, you just kept your mouth shut, you playing the game, cool. But it's like you had a moment where like you felt bad, like you let your morals slip, and you're like, should I tell my boy? All right, no, never mind, I'm not going to tell him. Okay, now we're past you just trying to win the game. You're 110% just sending him to his death now. Especially and to go past that.
At that point, hold on, real quick. At that point, it wasn't even established that there was only going to be one winner. So, like, why'd you dirty your man?
Exactly. Yeah. And not to mention, like, 456 knew what was up. I fully believe, like, as soon as he got the honeycomb and he saw the game that he was playing, he knew that his man dirtied him. He knew he was going to warn you. And he kind of just played it, like, he gave everyone the benefit of the doubt. Almost as like, oh, nah, he didn't do it on purpose. Nah, there's no way that he could have knew what he was playing, because if he knew, he would have warned me. No, he would have sent you off to his death. He has no benefit of warning you in the first place.
To describe, the honeycomb game is the one where there's this confection that's made and has a shape in it, and you're supposed to use a needle to chisel out the shape in question without breaking the rest of the, you know, I'm gonna call it a confection because it looks like a cracker, but I know it's a sweet. It's almost like a candy.
Yeah.
Almost like peanut brittle. Mm-hmm. And if it breaks, they shoot you. So the shapes in question, you had the square, the circle, the star, whatever, and then one was an umbrella. 456 ended up with the umbrella. You know, there's a long story behind why he ended up at the umbrella, but he ended up with the umbrella, so he had to chisel out the umbrella. Now, if y'all have ever never seen an umbrella, I don't know where the hell you've been. Umbrellas aren't shaped normally. They're weird as shit. They're a bunch of curves, a bunch of all that shit. Mm-hmm. Shit's easy to break. So that's why it was a big deal that he ended up with the fucked up shape. Whereas really, you want to end up with a nice solid square.
Yeah, not only that, but
got a triangle.
All of these things are timed, and it's not like red light, green light was 5 minutes.
Yeah, something to that effect.
That's very fast. Like, you have to make your moves very quickly. When it came to the honeycomb game, though, there weren't teams. Everybody could have jumped in the triangle line, right?
No one knew, though.
Once you made your decision,
I'm saying whatever his name is, the investor,
Sung Woo, 218.
Sung Woo had an idea, though. Yeah. He couldn't say, "Hey, everybody, let's hop into a triangle and let's go down there."
But that's why I like view all his moves differently than I do with
So that's the question.
And that's really the issue. It's like it's one thing if it's like, all right, I'm put in this situation. I'm a good person, but I was put in this situation. I need to make a decision. With him, you were given opportunities to not be a piece of shit, and you show that you are a piece of shit. So then if you start then doing what people would deem piece of shit things, I'm not going to then be like, nah, man, but like he made the same tough decision you did. It's like, yeah, but he's a good guy and he did that because he had to. You were a dick, and whether or not you had to do it, you would have done it.
But at the end of the day, they both did grimy shit.
Yeah,
though.
But they both did grimy shit. Yeah,
as they saddle up for their date with Lucy, because neither of them has seen JC. Well, as they saddle up for their date with Lucy, you know, like, all right, cool, we both here because we did some fuck shit.
Put it like this: if we're all playing this game, McGarvin knows what we're about to play, but he doesn't say anything to me, and I lose, we can all go through the game, and I can pass on to the afterlife sweetly. He didn't know any better. But if he reaches out to hesitate, like, I don't know, you sure you want to pick that line? Yeah, sure, why? And he's like, all right, cool.
Nah, I was just, you know what I'm saying?
And
Mercury in retrograde, I had an idea.
It's on site. Like, them guards is not going to get to you fast enough. Like, I'm on your ass. And the fact that 456 didn't slug him, I pull him aside, be like, yo, I know what you did. That's some fuck shit. I'm going to let it slide. And he just let it, like, all right, cool, you know, it's whatever, bro.
Did he, though? He had it. He came up and
you mean to tell me watching that you did not, I full on believe that A, 218 knew the game that they were playing, and B, 456, when he looked at it and he looked back at his boy, he knew because he remembered.
No, he knew afterward. Because they do the flashback and everything afterward where like he thinks about it and he's like, oh, he did try to warn me about something. That's why it's not so much like, that's why when he's walking back, he looks miserable. I understand that it was like, yo, I'm the last person to win, blah, blah, blah. But the look was more so, he had the flashback of, he totally tried to warn me and like didn't.
Yes.
And now he's coming back like, oh man, so glad that you made it okay. It's like,
he the dick.
son.
Yeah, but like at the time when it's time to, we spent a lot of time on this honeycomb game, but I do think it was a really important piece because it just kind of established the answer to the question that I asked of why does everyone look at Sung-woo like the villain when they both did when him and 456 did some grimy shit. But what I'm saying is at the end of the day, like during the time he didn't know that Sung-woo knew. Mm-hmm. Afterward, he like it connected and he was just like, yeah, that's fucking grimy. He tried to dirty me, or he didn't help me out.
He didn't help me out as much as what he should.
And I get that. I think it's unfair to like bury Sung-woo in that moment, even though it is grimy. If you got to tell your boys, especially because there's. Again, at that point in the story, there's no indication that only one's going to survive. Mm-hmm. Yes. By the fourth game, we knew, okay, only one's going to survive. The fourth game being the marbles game. Because at that point, they moved away from just like, oh, we're going to try to pick some people off. Because with the first game, red light, green light, any number of people could survive. Right. If you were just good at red light, green light, you was going to make it.
And let me tell you, when those numbers started going, I was like, oh, damn.
I'll get to red light, green light a little more in our next segment. But the second game was the honeycomb game.
Yes, sir.
Again, any number of people could survive. If everyone just lined up in the triangle line, they probably all make it. Mm-hmm. Third game was tug of war.
Yes.
Again, not everyone's going to make it. At that point, you're effectively cutting it in half.
Yeah, they did a couple games in a row where it's cutting in
half.
half.
Mm-hmm. And then the marble game, again, this one was like, we're cutting it in half yet again. Mm-hmm. Cool. So you're like, all right, cool. At this point, you realize not everyone's going to make it. And then the hopscotch game, any number of people could have made it. But prior to game 3 and 4, there was no indication that they're trying to get rid of a bunch of people. It was more like, all right, kind of gather as many people as you can and try to make it to the ending, which is why what Sung-woo did was fucked up. It was like, again, at this point, you didn't know that we weren't all going to make it. You just kind of dirtied me because you dirtied me for whatever reason it was. Why do y'all think the show is so popular?
I think the show is popular because it goes in a completely different direction than what Americans are used to seeing on television. I think a lot of American television, especially on Netflix, it's usually built off of remakes and hashed out ideas. Although nothing really original is under the sun nowadays, it was just done differently. And I think the writer took a risk in creating a show like this and he made it his own. And I don't think that's a thing that a lot of American televisions do. I think we get a lot of repetitive stories, a lot of repetitive basic messages, a lot of, bring the horse to water, but don't really do like an in-depth telling of like what's going on. And not to say like all American television is boring, but I feel like a lot of K-dramas and stuff like that have the benefits of doing some out-of-pocket wild thinking, and it ends up being really popular.
But we've seen this story before.
Yeah, we have. Not done like this.
Yeah, we have. Battle Royale.
Yeah, we've seen Battle Royale styles type stories, but Hunger Game is something different.
But no, I'm talking about Battle Royale itself was essentially the same thing.
Yeah, like, you can have the same genre, but done in the form of like kids games.
More or less, yeah.
I don't think so. I think the show is unique enough. Like, yeah, it falls under the same drama. I feel like it can fall under the genre of Battle Royale, but I'm
referring to the movie itself. The movie Battle Royale.
Of playing kids games? I didn't see Battle Royale.
Okay, all right, cool. So Battle Royale is essentially what inspired all of this. And when you mentioned Hunger Games, it also inspired Hunger Games. It's the same kind of thing where all these kids get lost in the thing and they have to kind of just survive the thing. They end up not necessarily playing games, but it's the same kind of like, we're doing things that are super simple, things that should be easy to do by muscle memory with the added stakes of death.
Cool. And you're presenting this in a way of childhood games and a whole bunch of other nonsense.
Right, but don't American shows do that?
No, I don't think so. I can't think of an American show that was interesting enough that did this. Because I feel like a lot of American shows, especially on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and all them things, are kind of just remakes of our remodels of like old TV shows. You have another Texas Walker Ranger. Who asked for that?
Yeah, but is this not another remake? I mean, is this not a reimagining of Battle Royale?
I think reimaginings are different than remakes. If remakes is just another telling of the same exact story in the same exact way versus you giving me the same genre but in a different way and presenting it unique enough with enough storytelling to make it different and unique, you get a thumbs up. You've had plenty of scary movies. We have plenty of slasher movies. And basically, they're all kind of the same. Like, we've had different poltergeist movies, but there's plenty of exorcism movies. Like, I mean, like, The Conjuring is different. Okay. Insidious is different.
I've just seen that take a few too many times where I'm just like, okay. There are a lot of people who say that the show is so popular. And the reason I asked the question is because a lot of people have the same thought of, like, it's so popular because it's different and all of the Korean shows are different. And Americans just rehash the same thing. And I'm like, well, it's different because we don't watch a lot of K-dramas. I can pull up a list of shows with a very similar premise, but we don't watch that. And it's different from what we watch from American shows. But I think to say like, oh, it's because, all of their shows are more unique than ours, is like, it's not really how it works. We get different things, but they're reimagining, rehashing, and replaying the same things as well.
I think it's just presented in a different way that makes it unique to me personally.
Because like, I think of something a little unrelated, but I'll get there in a minute. Do you remember the mid 2000s when we had all them horror movies, the American horror, the Unborn, the Unforgiven? Y'all know that.
You had like The Ring. You also had The Grudge.
Yes, those are all based on Eastern films.
Yes,
they're all the same shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But because it was new to us, it's like, yeah, cool. Yet once we got 3 or 4 of those in a row, everyone was like, damn, we keep doing the same shit. I'm like, they were also doing the same shit. They just did it a little better. I think the argument of them doing it better in this case, it works a little more than it's unique and we've never seen anything like it, because I think we have seen things like it, or there's been stuff out like it. Whether or not we've seen it is entirely on preference, but I think this stuff has existed before.
I think it's just been presented better, and I think that's important. Whether it's how you're writing or the characters and storytelling and all that, I think that's very important to how you present an idea. It's like the same things with video games, like Metroid and Mega Man and Castlevania are all the same games. Technically, if you think about it, they're all platformers. All platformers are the same exact thing, but the color and the story that you place behind it and the characters, all that has to be different in the idea. Like any character can just move side to side on the screen. Mario was like that for the first 3 games? I got to make it different. And I think that Squid Game did a great job of making it different, and that's why it was popular.
I'm a little bit on the fence of that. I thought that it was majorly popular because of how it's been promoted. It runs along the same side as Bird Box. Bird Box, to me, was not that great of a movie. But because there was so many memes coming out on it, because there was so many people talking about it and stuff like that, everybody watched it. This is the first, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first Korean drama that has made it in the top 10 of Netflix, or since they've been doing this whole top 10, everything like that. Not only that, but like McGarvin said at the beginning, even on Beyonce's Twitter, you gonna see it. Yeah. So it's everywhere. You heard me talking to the people in the office about how good of a show it is and stuff like that. I think even if I've seen some things not exactly to the exact same extent. When Teddy brought up Saw, I was like, okay, I kind of got a little bit of that vibe to it, just more of a kid game, and you're playing for money, until I watched it throughout until the end. Even if it took bits and pieces of it, I seen at least from each and everything, I've seen one of it in a different form of media. I just think it's almost like a Tower Heist. I've watched some of Tower Heist. I don't think it's that different from other stuff that I have seen, but it's still in the top 10 of Netflix. It's one of the best.
Money Heist? That's
Money Heist. That's what it is.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck is Tower Heist?
Sorry, not Tower Heist.
That was the movie.
Tower Heist.
Tower Heist. Y'all know I don't watch TV like that, so I was just letting it rock. Like, yeah, Tower Heist.
Yeah, no. Shit. Money Heist, I think, is another one that it's like you've seen a lot of the stuff that's in it. You have seen it in other forms of media. It's foreign TV show that's now presented on Netflix, which is being watched by a lot of Americans. So a lot of Americans are like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. And they promote it just like what we talked about. You have a lot of people that's like, oh, well, I haven't watched it. Well, you also have that other side where it's people that have watched it that like to boast about it because, oh, I watched something foreign. Look at that. This is new to me. I've never seen this story before. But like McGarvin said, if you presented that battle royale to somebody, it's like, oh shit, I did kind of see this already. So I just think it was, me personally, I think it was promoted very well. And it's a taste of something new it's a taste of something different that Americans have not seen. So therefore, it's number one.
See, but I disagree because I don't think that, I mean, yeah, promoting is one thing, but I think
because the promotion Bird Box, the promo from Bird Box didn't actually come from the users, where the promo from Squid Game did.
Yes. So like with Bird Box, like Netflix did do it.
Yeah, that came out from Netflix.
I agree, but if Bird Box wasn't promoted like how it was, it was so thrown out there, I don't think everybody would be watching it.
Sure,
but what we're saying is Squid Game itself is promoted because people watch Squid Game.
Yeah, exactly.
Bird Box was promoted because Netflix told you to watch Bird Box. No one told you to watch Squid Game
except your friends.
Netflix was like, "Hey yo, we got this movie out. It's called Bird Box. And I'm going to put it on the front page, and everybody who opens up Netflix, I'm going to create memes. I'm going to do all sorts of stuff to make people know about Bird Box, and they're funny, and then we're going to go ahead and they're going to share it. Versus Squid Game, it just kind of came out. A couple people saw it and was like, hey, yo, you should go check that out. And then it blew up organically how things should. So that's not really like a promotion thing where it's like, well, it was just promoted a lot. Well, it was promoted a lot because it was good, and it was promoted the right way.
It was promoted by
but it was still promoted, though.
Sure, but you're saying it's promoted like it was engineered. Right. And it was not engineered. It was done the right way. It's like saying like, yo, I only saw the Marvel movies because like Marvel made me go see them. Well, not really. Like they were good and like all your friends saw them, so like they saw it. Now, sure, it might have been out there too, but it wasn't like that from the
Marvel
jump,
made
you know
me
what
go
I'm saying?
watch Captain Marvel. By the way,
I mean,
I'm
sure.
sorry.
I'm sorry that got you in such a way.
I think
So speak for yourself.
I think the reason why it's more popular is more simple than that. It's not even like so much promotion and stuff. I just think people like seeing that shit. As much as y'all want to be like, nah, it's promotions. It's like, no, it's not that. People love watching shows where someone has to make a tough decision on whether or not their life is more important than someone else's. That's it. That's really the thing. They love seeing that struggle. That's where it comes from when it comes to like, well, would you kill someone on The Purge? That's where it comes from where it's like, well, am I going to actually saw my foot off so that I can live and that person over there dies? It's all about that stuff. It's just a matter of like, is your life more important than someone else? And for whatever reason, people love seeing that, or at least living vicariously through the characters on the screen to see how they would react in that situation and if they agree with it. It's really it. So like, yeah, promotion stuff is all that, but like the thing that I think intrigues people about it is, would you do this for money? Would you do this for your own survival? Like, what is your limit? And then watch other people do it. And be like, you're either gonna be like, yeah, I would do that, or no, I wouldn't do that. Or yeah, I'd be the ninja warrior, I swear I am, or no, I'm not the ninja warrior, I swear I am, but I'm gonna say I am. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And I think that aspect is just intriguing to people. So sure, the appeal is there. I think that I have seen stuff like this before, because even though it is different in theory, I still to this day, like I would put them in the same category as Saw as far as how they work. They are games in which you need to play them to survive. So like we've seen those type of things before. This is a little different because they are simplified children's games, but it's the same formula for the most part. Like I'm going to grab these people who are desperate or have issues or whatever the case is and force them to go do stuff.
We've also seen, and the reason I'm like adamant that we've definitely seen this all before is because we all watch anime. We've seen shit like this before. Y'all seen Future Diary. I mean, come on, like that was some fuck shit. You're like, whoa, Assassination Classroom, some kind of thing where it's like, it shouldn't be this simple, but it is. I think what Teddy hit on with the simplification, and I agree with Teddy the most here, because I think he nailed it with the whole simplicity of it all. It's because it's so simple. It's kids' games. The minute the show opens with red light, green light, literally everyone knows that. The Honeycomb game's a little different because if you open that's not something that I grew up with. Me and Darnell wasn't, at the JFK playing that game in the park. You know what I mean? I know y'all were.
You didn't spend the night.
Though. You made it.
Man, you didn't spend the night cooking that shit up?
But
curry with the pot.
Opening with a game as simple as red light, green light, you're like, oh, I played red light, green light.
I bodied that shit too.
I
was
nice.
nice.
Burst that shit. Once people started dying, you started, that center in your brain clicks and you're like, damn, these niggas dying over that. I wouldn't have been me. I would have murdered that game. And I think that keeps you engaged. That gets you to the next game. You get to the Honeycomb game. It's the same thing. You're like, I mean, that shit look hard, but like, it can't be that hard. I'll fuck that shit up like that, bop, bop. It's not, you know what I mean? You get to the third game. We talking what, tug of war at that point. We've all played tug of war. Hell yeah. And y'all lost because y'all suck. I'm not going to lose because I'm strong. I hit the back. I heave ho, you going over.
Also, side note too, it's interesting when they, one thing I noticed too, so they're picking teams, right? And in every game, they wanted like a team that was more athletic, etc. And really that was only necessary for one game.
Yeah.
Like that was it. Yeah. So like they were like, yo, we need this person, we need this person, we need this person. It's like, it just made me think about, not that I had a specific thought on it, but it's like, it made me think about the psyche of where it's like, we need to play a game, and automatically the only thing you can say is, I just need strong people for the game. You have no idea what the game is. You don't know strategy. You don't know anything, but like your automatic response is, he looks like he has muscles, I want him. And it's like, that wasn't even necessary for most of the games.
In which they clearly showed that, because they were looking for more masculine players, it clearly showed that you don't need, it's not all about strength, right? From even tug of war, which is a predominantly strength type game. So it's all about strategy.
So I think seeing how simple the games were, seeing games that were familiar to you, and seeing people die over it, it kind of gives you that whole, oh shit, I like seeing people in tough situations making tough decisions because it's more relatable than, everyone always having the right answers. And B, on the flip side, and I'm going to ride with this one, the belief that I could have done that, you couldn't because you were weak kind of shit.
Yeah.
That happened to me. You know what I mean? I was watching Red Light, Green Light, and I'm like, y'all niggas is trash. I would have wanted Red Light, Blue Light.
I had a strap.
Always terrible.
I had a strap from the gate, though.
And
I had a strap.
Everyone
I did, though.
Strap.
I did. I felt bad afterward because I'm like, damn, I'm really those people who are like, yo, I could have done it better. But I'm like, no, the second everyone died the first time, I had a strategy. I really did. Like, it was easy.
What was the strategy, Teddy?
Yeah,
come on.
what was the strategy?
All right. So I'm not saying that I would necessarily just body the game, because I think most of the people got shot when the panic happened, and you can't avoid that. But if we get past that wave, I didn't understand, because I do believe Dwayne, it was actually more than 5 minutes and the distance didn't look that long. But either case.
Shit looked dumb far.
Okay, even if it was, though. But see, but the thing is, we saw most of them after the initial wave, they all creeped. So for that many people to still survive while creeping, it couldn't have been that far. Yeah, okay. So at that point, or they had more time, right? So my thing was
the clock could have stopped.
True. Maybe the clock stops when she turns.
The second they all died and you saw a homie on the ground and all this other stuff, I'm like, so why don't they just stay low to the ground? Like that was my initial thing. I'm like, so we don't
sniper.
The rules are just don't get caught moving.
Yeah.
Why am I standing upright on 2 trying to move and then stand in place?
Well,
why wouldn't I stay low to the ground so when I need to stop, I'm on all 4s?
It's not a bad strap.
Yeah,
I think
you
was
still
like
get murdered, but I think you have a better chance.
No, I'm not talking about whether or not I would die. I'm talking about I said I had a strategy.
Oh,
the strategy. The thing was like, oh, we're gonna go for a full
Probably
sprint. We then said no, we're gonna stand up and walk, or you stay low to the ground so you can't trip.
I think
you can't fall.
I think
like, you
the
can't
issue
do
with
that
is that niggas just died. So the first thing running through your mind isn't.
And
I
that's the thing. I
gotta get the fuck out of here.
And that was the thing.
It took the lady to turn her head 2 times before 4:59 or whatever.
4:56.
4:56.
Come on, dog.
For him to get up and go like, oh shit, I gotta get this wheel moving.
Yeah.
Like, so
I
think
I would have folded right there too because I'm like, oh, they just died.
The best strategy, and even with that type of strategy, it's kind of like I guess one free life was when they were hiding behind people. Because if you're hiding behind people and the camera can't track your movement, then yes, I get that one. But once that first person dies, you ain't waiting for somebody behind you to come up.
I guess my thing is I was looking at it just even off a natural reaction, because the thing that made me think about it was just how they were moving when the shots went off. So it wasn't like if I would be like, nah, guys, I was bullshitting if like I thought about it like after the game or whatever. But like I'm literally the second that everything goes down and it all comes down, I'm like, all right, cool. People's natural reaction when guns start shooting and stuff like that is to duck, is to cower, is to loud bang, like it is what it is. So for you to then get back up, to me was just bizarre. I'm like, y'all got back up?
See,
no, not me.
What I'm picturing is, and I think McGarvin and Dwayne would then be fine at this moment, is if you just bear crawl the entire way.
I'm not even saying bear crawl.
Also, like,
I'm
really
saying,
tiring, though, to like be on all 4s and like as soon as she's like green light and you're just.
The reason I wouldn't have done with that is because I know I'm faster on 2 than 4, and I'm not that fast in general. At this point, the thing going through my mind
You're a gazelle.
You know what I mean? I'm an elk running through the savannah.
That's me.
The thing running through my mind at that point isn't, let me not die. My thing is, let me cross this line as soon as possible. I can get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At what point did y'all realize, oh shit, this shit is real? What game would have done y'all in? Because I already said for me, red light, green light.
Red light, green light would have been.
All right, cool.
Okay.
All right.
No, hold on.
You mean like which one would have defeated me?
Yeah, which one would have got you murdered?
I mean,
what's game 3 again?
No, game 3 is tug of war.
That could have done me in.
I think Honeycomb would have done me in.
Because that's a team game. It's not necessarily like me. That could have done me in.
So you would have made it past
I would have got to 2. Red light, green light. Red light, green light.
You know me. I paint. I draw. Like I'm precision.
But it's not even. It's not even. It's not even the precision though. Like if you f up one time and that thing cracks, like it's like the homie that had the umbrella, but it was cracked right at the line of it. It's like, dude, what's the chances? So if I got the right, so if I got the umbrella, I would have been done. For the red light, green light, I think. After people got shot and I realized, oh shit, this thing's serious, I would have made it through. But one thing that I'd be afraid of, and McGarvin brought it up 2 weeks ago, he was like, it's not even just worried about me. I'm worried about somebody bumping into me or tripping me.
Wave.
So when
like,
you come up,
different.
so when Teddy comes up and he says the all 4 thing, if somebody trips over me and I'm rolling, I'm gonna be pissed.
That's
like,
again, I'm not telling you guys to bear crawl your way to the thing.
That's why homegirl grabbed him from the neck and was like,
yeah, you will eventually, but then hopefully by the time you run out of people, you're already close.
You're already there.
First of all, that's not
wild.
like to the point like Teddy said earlier. To stop on like all 2s, you just mess up once. There's no just like, oh, I didn't move. Like you can't argue with the robot if she catches you.
Just kidding.
No.
Shot.
You can exactly. Yeah, you can argue with her. It might be too late though.
I'm not making it past game 1 because it's like even if you slide or something, or you happen to stop, I'm going to get shot. Even if I wiggle a little bit, or you don't catch your balance fast enough. And past that, what was the second game? The
honeycomb game.
The honeycomb game? No. Being honest with myself, I don't have the delicacy enough to use a little thing to draw out the lines. Even if I had a triangle, I guarantee you I'm gonna end up messing it up somehow. I'm gonna
be there with you.
I'm gonna be holding the triangle in the middle with a crack mad tight.
Good for
sir?
y'all for getting there. Again,
sir?
I'm
gonna tell you this right now. After you messed up and you got popped, I would have been like, before like he popped you, I would have been like, oh Darnell, pop the drinks. I'll be there in a second.
That's just tough.
I think this if there were shapes, so the circle could have tripped me up as well as the umbrella. As far as the other ones with straight lines,
and the star?
I think those are easier.
I mean, the star wasn't.
Tough. The star,
I was about to say
tough,
the star had curved.
Understand? I could lose,
like,
but I'm like, I'm. How about this? I'm very confident in those games. Of course, I could lose because I'm like, yeah, someone could trip over me. Of course.
Okay, so you make
I'm
it
talking
past
about
that
from like my
tug of
own
war,
thing. It's like
team game. So we're gonna
team
exclude
game.
that.
So okay, cool.
Marbles. You make it through the marbles. How many marble games you know?
See, that's the thing. I'm like, what game we playing?
Yeah,
Because if we talk
all
about
right.
like, yo, just guess. Nah.
That's no. I would never do that. That was foolish.
If we talk about toss it, like
No, you got to do something to
I'm
your
nice
strengths.
at that.
So
I like the circle one when you put all the marbles in the circle. Like you playing pool with the marbles. You know what I mean?
Are you
There we go.
Beyblade in the marbles?
so marble. I don't know a lot of marbles games, but in my head, I'm just thinking to
You and
myself.
your pop never did marbles? Your pop from the island, bro. What you mean? You ain't have no
Yeah,
marbles?
yeah,
That's
he
wild.
didn't bring the marbles.
Yeah,
Welcome on the boat.
that's fucked up. He ain't bringing
We played
pass them on?
dominoes. If it was a dominoes game, smoke their ass. If it was, but no, the marbles game I would have lost because the idea of like, okay, you have to get the marbles in a non-violent way. So if I just played like snatchies and I jacked your shit,
Snatch
Isn't that violent?
Bro. That's violent.
Is it violent?
You can't snatch
Yeah.
things.
If you just,
peacefully.
like, dingling the bag
peacefully
in front
snatch
of me-
something from somebody.
All
I
right,
just
so
take it from
if you got your bag-
I didn't cause you any physical harm. I
That
just
is true.
jacked you.
But that's
It's
not
not
peaceful.
physical.
No. If you're holding a bag of marbles right here, and I reach over and I try to yank them, you gonna hit me, right? You gonna punch me in the face.
Yeah, I committed violence against you. You didn't commit violence against me.
Why
and
would
then
you
I
hit me
get
though?
shot.
You would hit me because you
Because
was
you
like,
tried to take me, but the
Yeah.
thing is, the loophole is who's committing violence here.
I was about to
You.
say
Me against you.
that might be
I
that
get
might be a
shot.
form of
You get 20 marbles. You go on to the next game. That's it.
does that count though? Like, so if
that
you
might be a
rip-
form of
But
strategy.
hold on a
mean,
second. I'm just saying, like, in my head, that's what I thought about. I probably wouldn't play the marbles because I'm just like, this is mad dumb. Like, I don't know a lot of marbles games, so I'm like, this is kind of stupid. The fourth one, when I had to like walk across all those mirrors,
The
I would
hopscotch
lose
joint?
that because that's
Yeah,
that's
that-
I don't
I'm
have
like,
that's
control
the
over
luck
that.
of the
I don't
draw.
think-
that's
Luck of the
pure
draw.
luck.
There's
I'm not
only
doing all
one
that.
person that brought any type of skill to that game, and then they like completely denied his skill by turning off the lights.
yeah.
So
That's how
that
you
was
know they
kind of
wasn't
a
playing fair.
No, that's
Yeah.
his fault. He did that way too
Truth
late.
be told, in that game, I go first. Get that
get
shit
it
over
over
with.
with.
Yeah, I think the anxiety of it, imagine being at the back of that motherfucker. You looking around, you're like, damn. And I got to make sure I got to remember all of it because everyone's like, oh, go last, and you can remember where they went. I have to pay attention to literally everyone going here. I'm sweating, knees weak, arms spaghetti. There's vomit on my sweater already. Mom spaghetti. Like you want me to do all
He's
that?
nervous.
was that a
From
shout
the
out
back.
to
From the
Eminem's
back.
restaurant?
From the back to the back to the back to the back. For me not to fall and die. I'm gonna get it wrong the very first time. What you mean?
Well,
Did
I
they go
mean-
left or right? Left. What are we talking
On
about?
that one, even though you had to follow everyone, I think it was like the sixth player, his strategy where he's just like, all right, screw it, I'm just gonna go, and he started booking it, and I'm like, shout out to you
I
because
thought
you
the
made
same
it
thing.
far, but at the same time, you also screwed over everyone behind you
Yes.
because now we have to take so much
Bingo.
time trying to pay attention because you know the dude that was right behind you was not paying attention.
No,
The
you
person
started
behind
running.
him wasn't paying attention, and it's like, I mean, shout out to you for being right, but damn, dog, like you could
Yeah.
have slowed it
He
down.
said I
just a
got
little
one in
bit.
like 36,000 chance making it. Fuck it, I'm gonna just go.
Yeah,
And I like
it's
that strategy because at that point, what we doing? And then the last game, the Squid Game, that was just one of those like, all right, murder somebody.
We're gonna duke it out, yeah.
And again, I don't think I would have made it, but none of that even mattered because I wouldn't have made it past the red light, green light. I'm
Same.
just not dexterous enough.
Actually, no, I'm fronting. I would not have made it past the game in the subway.
Okay, thank you.
bugging.
Yo, right? Like
I'm
that would have
saying,
done enough
bro.
for
I
me.
mean, think
that's
about
real
it.
talk, though.
A random dude come up to you on the red line to Ashmont talking about, yo, you trying to play a game? First of all, I'm not saying yes. I say yes, we played the game. All right, cool. I have to slap your piece of paper hard enough to make it flip. And if I don't, I either give you money or you slap the shit out of me. The first slap, nah, you know what? Wait right here. Teddy, come to Charlotte real quick. McGarvin, Dwayne, go park at Quincy Center. Come to Charlotte real quick. And the second he slaps me again, dog his ass. I'm not about to stand here and play this game with you to get slapped. I don't care like what the money is, and we consider, oh, so someone offers you $1 million to slap the shit out of you let them?
Yes, yes.
I probably
Yeah,
would.
Yeah.
over
here's-
a game
here's my
like that.
thing.
I'll
$1
be
million
absolute
and
free.
you get to slap me?
So
No,
Okay.
if it's
I'll be
just,
all right.
if it's just a straight up 1-for-1, like, hey, I'll give you $1 million if you let me slap you, 100%. If it's like,
Yeah,
I'll give
but if
you
it's a game where it's
yeah,
like
I
we're
ain't
now
doing. I
betting
don't know if
against
I'm
each
doing the
other.
game.
So-
I'll let
No.
someone slap me because I've been slapped for free.
I
All
wouldn't
those
make it
memes
past
like,
that
yo, would you
game.
slap your grandmother for? Yes.
after
Because after the
Thunderclap!
after the first L I took and I didn't flip his paper box or whatever, he slaps the shit out of me. I'm like, all right, cool, good looking, but I'm not playing with you anymore. So you slap shit out of me again, me and my niggas gonna rob you.
is it.
So
We
I'm gonna
gonna
get on my
rob
train
you.
and go home.
After
Like,
watching that show, my boy in the office made up the game. He found paper. He looked up the directions. He built the two boxes.
Your boy was trying to get slapped. Let me.
No. We were just trying to see how hard it is to even flip
Oh,
the
okay,
thing.
all right.
that game looked
Yo.
hard as shit.
Is it hard?
Forget
It looks
trying
hard.
to flip the thing. Hitting it accurately is all the worst because we were throwing that shit and we were missing hard. It was bad. And then once you hit it, I don't know if they were using some type of construction paper, plastic paper, whatever it was, but when you smacked it, it did not move at all. So I agree with you. I would have
probably
straight
origami
beat the
paper.
living shit out of that guy because I would have been slapped up so much. I would have felt like we were already fighting.
I did not play baseball as a kid, so my accuracy with throwing stuff is not that great. And like, yeah, sure, I could throw it strong, but at the end of the day, I have to throw it accurately. So it's like, I'm gonna throw it strong as hell and hit the hell out of that floor. I'm not gonna move that piece of paper. So that would be the
flip
game.
it over with the wind he created.
Like a tile underneath.
You know what I mean? Like that'd be the game that would do me in. They wouldn't even let me play the game because it's just like he's just gonna pack the paper like, all right, bro, you trash, you suck. Like I'm gonna go find someone else.
That's what I'm saying.
sorry.
After if I
be embarrassed.
if I did flip it and then he gave me the money, he gave me the card, and I call up one day and I'd be like, "Yo, I'm in." He's gonna be like, "You sure?" Because you're like, what are we really
You
doing?
just hear him on the line in the background. Who is that? Number 456? Nah, he trash.
exactly.
So I have to ask because like I think it's a great question. My last question for y'all before we get the hell up out of here. If Squid Game was real IRL, and we're not talking about the whole six pack, I'm gonna ask for one. They say, hey, Teddy, Dwayne, Darnell, y'all each got one game you can bring to the table. And if you win this one children's game, then you get the money. And if you lose, you die. What game you bring into the table?
One children's game?
Yeah, a game from your childhood. And we ain't talking tabletop, no card games. I can't be like, yeah, I'm grabbing the light swords. We going to work today. It has to be a playground kind of game.
That's crazy.
I want to play Sting.
Sting
or Tag.
Tag. Oh, good for you. You fast though. So
That's what I'm saying. All I have to do is just outrun you or
one big tag game.
just like get the tennis ball and like beam the shit out of your lower back, your L20 through the 25 discus. Yeah, I got you. I got
think
you.
with Sting happens too fast though. Like each round of Sting takes like 10 seconds at the absolute max.
Mm-hmm.
Do it fast, get it done fast. I guess. Dwayne, where you at?
It would be tag or manhunt. Is what we used to play, and the only other game is Scrabble. It would be. Sorry, not Scrabble. Scramble. My apologies.
Hello?
Scramble.
I was there when you played Scrabble last.
No.
Game. We gonna spell some words.
Right?
Scramble. I'm familiar.
Scramble. It's like dodgeball. Although you have to throw it off the back wall. You played it at gym. You have to throw it off the back
You
wall.
tell me what I played at gym.
I talked to your teacher. I know. And it's just like dodgeball, just with extra steps.
So it's when you get the ball, you have to throw it off the wall, and then you hit someone.
Then it's in play, and then you start going.
I thought that game was called Off the Wall, but yeah, go on.
No, well, it could very well be the only. And I'm not saying
teacher, then.
right. I'm not saying that I would for sure win in these games. It's just the games that I have the best chance of because I've won successfully more at those than others.
I think it's really interesting y'all saying tag. Cause I'm like, I know y'all are faster than me, but man,
It's tiring.
But
Some of
here's
y'all
the
out of
thing.
shape. Out of shape.
I think the only one
here's why.
Darnell will probably have it because he's in shape enough to not lose to stamina, and he's fast enough to not lose to being tagged. So
It's different from. I was faster than the kids at school. When you start pairing me up with other people, I don't know how fast they are. I don't know how agile they are, so I might lose. But that's the best chance I got.
Are you playing tag with or without home base? That's the real question.
All right.
Teddy, what you bringing to the table?
All right, so I'm assuming that it's the same squad. I'm assuming that I'm playing with a bunch of plumbers. So at that point, I'm going with 50.
Play 50.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let me play with the plumbers, bro.
All right, for y'all who don't know,
It's basically wild. Basically, it's 21.
If you don't need black people, 50 is a variation of 21.
Yeah, basically
you score by 5s.
It's the hood 21.
You play. You score by 25. You have to if someone misses a shot and you tip it back in, you get the point. They go back down to 0.
Yeah, unless they have 0, at which point they're out.
Yeah, at which point they're out.
Or you one hand tap them.
One hand tap them,
which is what Teddy used to do. So
I
was
because people be trying so hard. I'm like, bro, you could have tapped me, and yet you wanted to try to one hand tap me. Fuck yeah,
exactly.
At this point,
when they miss you,
and then you got to break your ice. That's the hard part. It's breaking the ice, which means you got to net it from 3-point range. At which point you start calling people out. It's a mess.
Right. Again, I'm assuming that I'm playing against a bunch of plumbers like they were, and at that point, if that's like plumbers, it's like how they always like clown Will Chamberlain in them or Bill Russell. They'd be like, "Yo, bro, he played plumbers. Like, was he that good, or was he playing plumbers? Like, all right." Shout out to
next
Bill.
Thing you know, next thing you know, that plumber was like all in high school.
Yeah, man. So like, I would do that. At that point, I usually can jump higher than most people. I'm a short basketball player, but a tall man. So hopefully, I'm not playing against other people who are like basketball players.
Yeah.
And I should be okay. I think I just have a good chance of winning that one, depending on the roster that I saw.
Y'all are better than me. Y'all picked a bunch of games that require some level of athletic prowess. I'm picking a real simple game. I'm playing Red Rover. Send McGarvin's big ass over. And I'm running through the motherfuckers.
Oh, here we go.
We all lined up. They say, "Hey, send no homie on over." And if you break it through, you win the round, right? Cool.
Yeah.
I'm a big boy. I'll barrel through a motherfucker's arms. I mean, you better grip him for dear life.
Here's my issue.
I'm taking the forearm with it.
Here's my issue. If McGarvin doesn't roll through him, he'd be like, "Hey, yo, can we run that back?"
Hey, rewind that.
I have good footing.
The physics is there. But
I feel like that's the simplest one to do because I'm like, all right, cool. I don't have to be fast because there's no time limit on it. All I have to do is break through your little arm tackle. Right. I can do that.
That's fine. And I'm going to have my hand right on his back like Le'Veon Bell.
Follow him from home, bro. That's exactly right. I think Squid Game is one of those things that invokes a lot of really good conversation from beyond why it's really popular or, what you would do in the situation. I think it having such relatable and easily recognizable games makes it something that's easy and accessible for everyone to talk about. You can talk to a 7-year-old right now about red light, green light. I mean, you wouldn't want to watch it with a 7-year-old, but you can ask them what their strategy would be. To die, because they're 7 and they're not probably not very good at it, but its simplicity makes it really accessible. I think it's unique enough that those who don't dabble in anything outside of Western media find it novel and be like, oh shit, I've never seen anything like this. Even though we all know that's not necessarily the case. It's more about what you're after. I'm hopeful that more shows like this hit where it's not just same formula. Because I do agree with Darnell on that part where a lot of American shows are formulaic.
It just needs to be presented differently.
And I think it's really good that it wasn't focused on a group of teenagers because that seems to be the demographic of all American shows. It's like, yep, everyone here is 15, yet I'm supposed to pretend that they all have the ability to do X, Y, and Z. I'm hopeful that at some point in the next few weeks, another show comes in and takes over for Squid Game, because I really enjoyed having a new show to watch. I've been on leave since I just had a son, so I've been watching more TV. I'm hopeful that something hits like this because Squid Game came. It was only 9 episodes. I kind of wanted a little more. But a show that you're not going to have to wait too long for is our next episode of the Beam Me Up podcast. We have new episodes out every Monday. Next week, we're going to be talking about bad writing. Teddy's going to lead that discussion. So join us next week. Hit that subscribe button so you know when it's out. It's usually 6 a.m., but hit the bell anyway so you get the little notification and you don't forget about it. In the meantime, go ahead and check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/nicegamingent. We have a lot of fun content there. New episodes out, I think, every Thursday at this point, or that's what we're aiming for. So go ahead and try that. Subscribe over there. Follow us on our Twitter and Instagram at NiceENT Group, and you can catch up our content there as well. Share the show with your mammy, your pappy, and that chick you chase. And until next time, stay nice.
Peace.
Later.